Alright y'all, welcome back to the channel and to some more turkey patterning. And today, we've got another combo that we haven't tried yet, and one that should hopefully give us some pretty good performance, because we've seen good both from these shells and this choke before, so hopefully they can work well together. I don't really see a reason why they shouldn't be able to anyway. But as for the ammunition we have out here today, I brought out some more of the Rogue shells. These ones are the 410 3-inch 27/32 ounce of number 9 TSS shot, moving about 1100 feet per second. And these Rogue shells have done us pretty well in the past with a bunch of different setups, so I at least expect to see some decent results through today's combo. And speaking of today's setup, I brought out the Mossberg 500 410 turkey here again, but I threw in this choke, which is the Indian Creek 385 constriction turkey choke, and it's done well with a bunch of stuff that we've put through it already. Plus 385 seems to do pretty well with 9s across the board, so I at least have some pretty good hopes of seeing at least a decent pattern today. But as for the test, everything's going to be the same as usual. I have the turkey target set up at 40 yards. I also have the chronograph, so we'll be able to get our speed. So let's get you guys set up with a view of this target. We'll take our shot, look at that chrono speed, and then go down and see how they actually performed. So enough talking, let's go over here and take this shot and see what kind of results we can actually get out of it. Alright, so that shell gave us 1174 through our chronograph. The box claims 1100, so we are a little bit above their claim, but 1174 is still plenty within the realm of reason. I definitely don't think it's moving too fast, and it's definitely not moving too slow either. So even though we were a little bit above their claim, there's definitely nothing too out of the ordinary up here. But how well did it actually pattern? Let's go down to 40 yards and take a look. Alright, now we're down here at our 40-yard paper, and this is what we got. And we do absolutely have a dead turkey. There are 1 or 2 in the brain there, and several more down the spine that would have definitely not felt too good, that's for sure. Now, looking at the overall pattern here, definitely much more on the broad and open side. Now, it is pretty circular, if you can tell. I mean, there's nothing in really any of the corners, so it is a circular shaped pattern, but definitely far more open than some of the other 410 combinations that we've shot. Now, looking at this kind of screams youth pattern to me. It's plenty good enough to take a bird out to 40 yards. I don't know that I'd really want to push it farther than that, but it gives you plenty of leeway either direction. Plus, that's not going to be quite as tight in at closer ranges either. So a 410 with that kind of a pattern, I think would be really good for a first-time hunter or a youth hunter that you know is going to have a shot at no farther than 35 or 40 yards, because it would clearly be good enough. Now, obviously, you have to be a little bit more cautious because of how open it is about birds being close to him, but it would absolutely still do the job. Now, looking closer, we do see a couple voids and stuff in here, right around the top edge of that turkey paper there, and a couple more strung out as we get around the edges of that turkey paper there. Not anything I'm too worried about, just based on the context of the entire rest of the pattern. I mean, there's nowhere on that entire turkey paper that bird will be able to get to and get away from you, plus several inches on either side of it. So overall here, although it is nowhere near the best 410 pattern that we've gotten, that's for sure, I think this is going to appeal to either the guy that's hunting at much closer, tight quarters, or probably the youth hunter or the first-time hunter as well, being that it gives you that much leeway while still being able to definitely take a turkey out to 40 yards. So would I call it a terrible pattern? No. But it's nowhere near the top of the best we've seen either. It's just a much more broad and open pattern. So I guess kind of 50-50 on this. This would not necessarily be my first choice or my go-to choice, since I know that we've seen better performance through other shells and chokes from that gun, but it would absolutely still do the job out to 40 yards. So I guess you can take it or leave it on this one. It's not terrible. Definitely not the best we've seen, and I think really where this pattern is going to play its best game is in at those closer ranges or for the youth hunter. So definitely not the best we've seen, but not terrible in the grand scheme of things either. Okay, and here's our wad from that shell, and as you can see, definitely 4-petal, full-length 410 wad. There's no rips or tears anywhere, but it is kind of jagged. It doesn't really look like the tips caught anything on the inside of that choke, but you can definitely tell that it's a little bit more jagged than some of the other wads. Now, the big thing is we definitely saw one pellet down there in the bottom, which seems to be a really common problem with 410 for whatever reason, seeing pellets stuck down in the bottom of the wad. Now, would this one pellet have made a difference in this case? No, absolutely not. But when you start getting a handful of them down there, 5, 8, 10 of them stuck down in there, that can start to really make a difference on a 410. So I definitely don't like to see that, even though it's only one pellet. Either way, the rest of the wad looks a little bit beat up, but nothing that really concerns me about performance anyway. I think it did about as good as what it could do through this combination anyway. All right, y'all. Well, what did you think about that pattern right there? Clearly, it's good enough out to 40 yards all day long. But like I said again, much more on the broad and open side than a lot of the other patterns we've gotten through that Mossberg, which might not be a bad thing for your situation. If you're hunting tight, close quarters, close range, or if you've got that new or youth hunter out there, that's going to give them plenty of leeway to work with. So even though it's by far not the best or the tightest 410 pattern we've gotten, all things considered here, it's not what I would call terrible either. It's absolutely a usable 40-yard turkey pattern. I don't know that it would be my first choice because I've seen better through that setup, but if it's what I had, I would absolutely hunt with it, that's for sure. But as always, leave your thoughts in the comments. Is it about what you expected? Were you a little bit surprised one way or the other? If you've tried any of these Rogue shells or that Indian Creek 385, what has been your results with them? And would you hunt with a pattern like that? Or would you kind of save that for that close quarters or youth hunter type of situation? Let me know all that down in the comments. But with that being said, I've got some more testing to film for you guys, so I'm going to get back to it. As always, we have the channel Instagram as well as the mailbox where you can send stuff if you'd like. All the information will be in the description if you're interested, but I'm going to get back to it, so I'll see y'all in the next one.